inside the 10, head first. He dives inside the 5-yard line. My goodness.
Pounding at the 27-yard line. Warner to throw. Going deep downfield, adjusting for it is Isaac Bruce. And Isaac Bruce threads his way for a touchdown.
The game's final play is a Wilson loft to the end zone, which is fought for by Tate with Jennings simultaneous. Who has it? One guy goes up, touchdown.
We are back at you here with another episode here of Football Thursday here on my channel, YouTube, Condog209. That's where I'm from, and I'm Condog, so clearly not that much of an issue there, or a discrepancy there. I mean, I don't know why there'd be like a Condog208 or something, so clearly I'm the only Condog209, and don't ever listen to anyone else who claims to be, because they're liars. And enough about that, let's get into football. Look at the new rankings here. I'm just going to still have Alabama and Clemson number 1 and 2. I don't know why teams are dropping Clemson all the way down for playing weak teams when Alabama seems to do it every year when they're playing non-conference opponents too. It's not, I mean, they're still winning. Both of them are still winning. So, and, you know, you see, look, Georgia just lost. Florida lost. Auburn lost. Texas lost again. So, they're not, I mean, what, you want it to be Wisconsin, Ohio State, Oklahoma, LSU, when Wisconsin and Ohio State have to play each other again, possibly in the conference championship. Oklahoma will have a rematch against Texas soon. LSU will have to play Alabama soon, and then probably winner of Florida and Georgia. So, and they still have to play, yeah, they have a whole schedule. Like, you know, I'm not going to drop you too much till you lose enough for me to be convinced, or lose one, just because, well, it's totally asinine in my opinion. I'm so glad I'm not on FCC airwaves. Asinine to just, you know, drop teams just for the sake of dropping them. Again, strength of schedule, in my opinion, only, and I mean only, matters if you lose. But they haven't lost, so strength of schedule doesn't matter. And I even said this last year when I was at Delta College Radio when I was doing this show. I said, hey, look, I'm on to you, Clemson. Your schedule's kind of weak. You might just be trying to skip by. Guess what? They won the damn national title. So, again, strength of schedule doesn't matter till you lose. They haven't lost. And they could still be 1 and 2. Because if we're going by wins and quality of wins, LSU is number 1, without a doubt. But that's not how it works. Pause for emphasis, Drake and Josh style. That's just not how it works. And that's just how it is. And next up here, we're getting a little laxed here in the big game air department. So there won't be too much changes to the rankings, I believe, next week. But let's just take a look here. You know, the reason, again, Clemson, Alabama will be my 1 and 2. Oklahoma and LSU, I have them above Ohio State just because they have better wins this year. LSU has the Florida win, and they have the Texas win. Oklahoma has the Texas win. Ohio State, they've been winning dominantly, but against who? Like, again, if we're going to complain about Clemson, Alabama winning, or looking dominant against, are just winning against weak. Like, who does Ohio State play? They haven't played Michigan yet. They haven't played Wisconsin yet. They haven't played Penn State yet. They haven't played freaking, they played Mich State. No. Wisconsin played See? Exactly. And if anything, Wisconsin's had beaten better opponents. They've beaten Mich State and Michigan. And I'll take that any day over Illinois and, I don't know, Appalachian. I don't know. Actually, Appalachian's doing better than North Carolina this year, so, I mean, you can't tell me North Carolina's better than Appalachian State when Appalachian State beat them just because North Carolina played a close game against Clemson. Completely ridiculous. But again, let's take a look here. Florida, LSU, really, LSU, they went in. They were able to be unstoppable on offense. This is a totally new style LSU. Florida, they were up 28-21, and they blew it. I think they blew it. They just couldn't find a score within that fourth quarter late in the game, and they blew it. The game's 4 quarters, and Florida really had a shot to upset LSU all the way in Baton Rouge. They really did. Georgia, oh my God, what happened there? Number 8, Georgia. I have no idea what happened there. That South Carolina is a huge rivalry game for Georgia, though. If you've played any NCAA game, any NCAA football game that always says rivalry game, it's one of the big rivalries. I know when I played NCAA 05 and I'd pick Georgia early in the year, you'd play South Carolina. You simulate it. South Carolina upsets you because they're good enough to upset you. They hate you enough to upset you. It's all of that. And then, boom, Auburn, number 10. I'm going to keep them there, yeah. All the undefeateds are the top 7. Then 8 through, well, besides Boise, 8 through 15 is pretty much just one losses. Who do I think has a better loss? Technically, Oregon would probably have the second best loss, just due to the fact that Florida lost to LSU. Michigan's lost to Wisconsin, but they looked super, like, that game wasn't even close, so. Texas technically has 2 losses, though. Notre Dame's loss was close, but then Georgia went on to lose, so that kind of hurt them in the bullet. And I've heard some people talk about how they want expanded playoff, and one reason, like, yeah, the lower divisions, the South Dakota State, North Dakota State, have a 5-round play, or I believe, yeah, it's 5 weeks of playoff, but I absolutely love bowl season, especially New Year's 6 bowls. I kind of hate that some of the bowls are relegated to, like, first round of the college football playoff. But that's just not my decision. Now, my feeling for expansion of the playoff would maybe be a 6 to 18. But I've heard like a 16-team play. Oh, you got to see all these crazy matchups. You might get to see Oklahoma, Georgia, or Penn State, Oregon, But for the most part, if you lose it again in college football, and again, Oregon, like last year, they lost too much, or Ohio State unfortunately lost, and Notre Dame went undefeated, and they were clearly not the better team, and snuck in just because of merit alone, even though they don't have any strength of conference because their conference is non-existent. Don't get me started on that can of worms. Don't get me started on that, but honestly, it makes the regular season super important. Like, yeah, sure, it sucks that, almost one loss and you're done, but also a lot of one-loss teams have snuck in. I mean, Oklahoma had one loss, and they went almost toe-to-toe with Bama. Ohio State's had one loss before and snuck in. Alabama, they've won, like, it's not completely over. But obviously your merit, and like Oregon being the pack, having one loss. Luckily they haven't lost in the pack yet, so they still kind of have that merit. But again, if losing to a conference in a weaker conference like Clemson, if they lose any ACC game, they're out. They're automatically out. They have to. Alabama, because they play in the SEC, again, their division alone has Auburn, LSU, and the East side has Georgia, Florida. As long as they're all playing well, then yeah, you can lose. You can lose a game and still probably get in, just because you've been one of the best 4 teams. And honestly, for the most part, they do get at least 3 of the 4 best teams in. For the most part, last year, yeah, Ohio State, but Notre Dame, yeah, I don't agree with that, but they got 3 of the 4 best teams, and well, we got 2 blowouts by Clemson. Whether they were playing the second best team Alabama or probably the 5th or 6th best team Notre Dame. That's just how it works. Again, by making it to where 2 losses can't get you to a national, it makes the regular season super important. Makes almost every game important because, again, that nail biter with Clemson and North Carolina, you're telling me how many people didn't see that ticker at the bottom of ESPN or Fox or whatever, or on their phone, and just switched it to that game? You're kidding, right? You know why? Because if you gave Clemson 16 spots to claim instead of 4, no one would care about that game. But I guarantee you, you all switched to that game the moment Clemson had a shot of losing. You all switched. Do not lie to yourselves. Do not lie to me. Do not lie to your friends and your buddies when you're trying to make that argument. That game got that much more important just because the playoff only fits 4 teams. It skyrocketed from lousy wash game to skip to must-watch primetime TV in the middle of the afternoon. That's what happened because of that. Do not try to come up with some fake argument for that. That's how important the regular season is with a limited playoff. And that's why I kind of don't want to see an expanded FBS college football playoff. Just because, again, that made that game that much more important. Makes almost every week that much more important. When there's a nail biter, anything, you have to watch the game. You have to turn your TV on. You have to turn it on your phone. You have to find some way to watch it. I don't know, go to Best Buy or go to Applebee's. Find some way to watch it really fast because that's just become much-watched TV in an instant. And that's something that the NFL doesn't have. There's so many games you can just skip. Yeah, and a lot of people, your local broadcast game might be a bad game, so then that actually increases the buy of Red Zone to try and find that game, or most of the games suck, so you're just stuck watching the highlights for your fantasy team on the Red Zone channel, trying to see who scored on your team. Yeah. There's a lot of games in the NFL that are just wash, boring because of that, or have no implication. Like, Redskins Dolphins. What implication did that have? Besides tanking for Tua. Exactly. The only reason you'd probably watch it is just for that, or that they showed it on Red Zone. But enough about that. Let's go all the way and transfer into games to watch. Alright, games to watch. The early morning game is Florida at South Carolina, and the only reason this game made it on here is because South Carolina upset Georgia last week. Florida's number 1 rival, Georgia's number 2 rival. And then Florida's going into their house, so this could be a big opportunity for South Carolina or Florida. Just so we could take a look here. Again, possible upset here, so that's why this game's here. And then the afternoon game, again, Pacific Standard Time, 12:30-ish. It's going to be Oregon at Washington. Now, people in the Oregon, Washington, Pacific Northwest area know all about this rivalry. This is a very tense rivalry that a lot of people in the South don't know about. If you have a chance, watch it. It's a rank 25, I believe, Wisconsin's going to go against, according to me, rank 11, Oregon. I believe some people have them 12 or 13. Oh, well. Oregon's going all the way up to their rival, the Huskies, and it's always kind of a bloodbath. They, really hate each other up there, and I know a lot of people in other, if you're in the north, like Ohio and Michigan area, you have that rivalry. The south, you have Bama, LSU, Auburn, Bama. You have that, but if you have a chance, take a look at this. This is a very strong rivalry here in the Pacific Northwest, one of the most hated ones. And it's going to be a good game. I mean, both teams have played fairly well. I mean, Washington has 2 losses, though. Oregon has 1 to non-pack opponent, none to pack opponents. Pacific 12. And then next is going to be the evening-ish game, the later game, and it's Michigan at Penn State. Jim Harbaugh has to go on the road to the Nittany Lions, and this could be it for Jim Harbaugh. For Michigan Wolverines' playoff chances, they cannot lose this game if they want a shot at the college football playoff. The Nittany Lions have looked good this year. Michigan, for the most part, have looked okay, besides that Wisconsin game, that blunder. But let's take a look here. They're on the road here, so it's a road test, so they have a chance to get out. And one of my friends who totally hates Michigan and Harbaugh would be so excited for this. And I would be too, actually. But this is going to be a good game. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm predicting, I'm not predicting, but I'm predicting that this will definitely be one of the more defining moments of Jim Harbaugh if he's going to stay with his tenure at Michigan or not. Because if you lose to Penn State and then also lose to Ohio State, then what's the point of keeping you around for? I could pay Coach $1 million compared to the amount that Jim Harbaugh's getting to lose to Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Penn State. Might as well just save some bucks while I'm at it if I'm going to lose to them anyways. But without that, let's go kick into the big boy league. It is the Shield. It is the NFL. And uh-oh, I've got a new graphic. That is right. I made a new graphic here. It's basically, because we're enough in the season to kind of see playoff teams and not, like, so these are the teams I predicted to win their divisions and the wild card spots versus the current playoff. Like, if the playoffs started right now, who would be there? And as you look here, we're going to look at the AFC here. Patriots, 1 seed, and I call them winning the AFC East. Check. Second would be the Texans. I called them winning the AFC South. Check. Third is Kansas City Chiefs. I called them winning the AFC West. Check. Fourth is Baltimore. I called the Browns winning the AFC North, so X. I called the Steelers making the one of the wild cards. Well, it's the Bills currently right now, so that's an X for me. And 6, we got the Raiders and the Chargers, which I predicted, so that's an X for me. At least it's an AFC West this time. Just, got to throw it just a little up north to Oakland, soon to be Vegas. With the NFC here, right now I had the NFC West winner being the Rams, and it is currently the Niners. I had the North winner being the Bears, and it's currently the Packers. I had the South winner being the Panthers. It's currently the Saints. I had the East winner being Cowboys/Eagles on tiebreaker. And right now, Eagles hold the tiebreaker of record versus common opponents, which was the Packers' loss of the Cowboys losing to the Packers, but the Eagles beating them. So I totally hit this on the nail right now in that it is going to be between a tiebreaker and have no wild card from this division. And right now, that's exactly what it looks like. I had the wild card being a tiebreaker between Falcons and Saints, and I called the Minnesota Vikings sneaking in a wild card. And so far they have. I've got... So, on the money, I have the Patriots on the money, Texans on the money, Chiefs on the money, Vikings on the money, and Eagles/NFC East winner tiebreaker on the money. So, almost half on the money. That's fine. I'll take that. But, we've had some Russell Wilson. I did ask Seahawks in my video. I did say they're going to be on the outside looking in on the playoffs, so I had them at the 7th. So far, I'm only 2 slots off, but I got it wrong. They've been playing... I figured it was going to be a lot of Russell Wilson carrying, and who knows when they play the Niners twice, and the Rams, I believe, again. So there's going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun here for Seattle, actually. Because I may get this right in the end. As of right now, I am wrong. As of right now. But again, it's a season thing. That's why I've built this graphic up so we can take a look at progress. And again, I didn't actually predict records because I don't care too much about records. I don't care if the Patriots are a first seed at 15-1 or 13-3. Or all that matters is that they're going to get their first round, by like wild card. It doesn't matter what record you are. If you're the wild card, you don't get any home playoff games unless you're the 5th seed and you end up playing the 6th seed in the championship round, which what are the odds of that? And 3rd or 4th seed, you'll get your one home playoff game in the wild card, and then you'll get your away game if you win in the divisional round, and maybe home game in the championship if you end up playing a wild card team, probably. So the record is all an anomaly. You get like 3rd and 4th seed, it'll usually be they'll have their home game, then their away game, and then maybe home game, but most likely away game again in the championship round. 1st seed, 2nd seed, you get your home game. And then if you lose it, oh well, like, you get what you get. High seed, the first 2 seeds, they know what they're getting. 3rd, 4th seed, they know what they're getting. 5th and 6th, they know what they're getting. You know exactly what you're getting, folks. And yeah, this is just a little graphic I had made yesterday. Pretty awesome, I would say. A lot more cleaner than just screenshotting ESPN, but I'm gonna have to keep doing that for Pigskin Pick'em though, because I just don't want to make a graphic for Pick'em. That's just literally I already had to download like 20 logos for the NFL here, but I'm not trying to do that for all 32 teams because I definitely don't want to have a Dolphins and Redskins logo on my desktop at all. I just don't want that. I don't need that negativity in my life, but let's just go ahead and let's just transition here to Pigskin Pick'em. And ooh, my oh my, I only got 7 correct this week, and I dropped from 74th percentage to 73rd. But here's something for you guys. I saw this ticker on Colin Cowherd's show the other day. It said 51 games decided by 7 points or less through week 6. That is the record for the most through 6 weeks in the NFL. So that's telling you we're getting lots of close games. It's a lot more competitive a league. Just because the Patriots make it all the way does not mean parity is dead, folks. That's a lot of close games. Again, the Patriots are better because they're better. It's not because of weak competition or whatever. They're better because they're better. That's why there's tons of close games, and that's kind of why I faltered. I had a lot of games where I just faltered. I mean, I got the Patriots and Giants, check. I actually believed in the Buccaneers, and they failed me in London. London bridges fell down hard on me today. Or technically last week, but as of recording. Next, Ravens and Bengals, I hit that. Close game. I hit Seahawks, Browns, barely. I missed Chiefs and Texans. It was by a touchdown. Dolphins, Redskins. They went for 2, didn't go for overtime, and they really tanked for 2 on one of the worst 2-point conversion play calls I've seen. I hit that wrong by a point. I hit Vikings, Eagles. I got that right by a mile. Thanks, Diggs and Cousins, for showing up in a game this year. Saints, Jaguars. I did hit Saints, but man, oh man. I was also kind of rooting for Minshew Mania. Cardinals and Falcons. I did go Cardinals. I did say last week I'm giving up on the Falcons. And guess what? You should have gave up on them too. Rams, Niners. Rams disappeared off the face of the earth. Cowboys have lost 3 in a row. Pay Dak 10 billion gazillions of Jerry Jones's money just to lose 3 in a row. Yeah, right. Titans, Broncos. I'm actually surprised the Titans have fallen from grace here. They've actually benched Marcus Mariota for Tannehill. That tells you that. Next up, Chargers, Steelers. The Steelers and Chargers need to decide if they want to be good teams or bad teams. These are the most inconsistent teams in the league right now. And Packers, Lions. I did roll Green Bay by... I said 35-31, ended up being 23-22. I knew it was going to be a close game. The Lions had a lot of fight in them, and they probably should have won this. I should have been wrong here. But, hey, officiating's officiating. Real-time versus slow-motion replay. So, camera views that we get versus the views that the refs get sometimes. Just, like grabbing the shoulder pad, grabbing the neck collarbone areas. How close is that to the face? Like a couple of inches. I mean, from a distance, a couple of inches is nothing, so you could look like that. I'm going to give the refs a little bit of a break here. It's not as egregious as the Saints pass interference thing from last year in the NFC Championship game. That I don't know how that was missed, but let's just move on to next week here, folks, because last week's upsetting again. This week, rolling Thursday Night Football. Catch that game tonight. Chiefs, Broncos. It is in Mile High City, and I'm going to roll with the Kansas City Chiefs. This will be a comeback week for them. I could use the points. Next, it is Rams, Falcons, and if the Rams ever want to come back and not be 3-4, this would be the team to do it against. The Falcons, who can't stop anything. Expect this to be a Rams victory, at least for me, because I do not trust the Falcons one bit. Next up, Bills, Dolphins, tanking for Tua. Next up, Jaguars, Bengals, hurting for hurt. Next up, Vikings, Lions here. Lions, they need to bounce back right here. I think they're going to finally do it at home. They're a very good team, had some heartbreaking losses. I'm going to roll with the Lions here. Next up, the Raiders versus the Packers. And I'm going to roll with the Cheeseheads themselves. Let's move on. Next up, it is Texans-Colts. This was a tough one for me. Colts are coming off a bye. Texans are coming off the victory versus the Chiefs. Both teams are coming off victory versus the Chiefs. It is Brissett. It is Watson. It is Mack. It is Duke Johnson, Carlos Hyde. It is Hopkins. It is Hilton. It is the AFC South. And I'm going to roll with the Texans here because I did predict them to win the division. And how can I predict them to lose games but predict them to win the division? And they're both been playing solid. Marlon Mack's injury is kind of iffy, though. I'm going to roll with them. But expect this to be closer than the pick percentage indicates. Cardinals-Giants here, folks. And you know what? I'm a believer in air raid. I'm a believer in Cliff Kingsbury, Lincoln Riley, Mike Leach, whatever. I'm a believer, and I'm going to roll with the Cardinals here, folks. I'm going to roll with David Johnson, Kyler Murray, Larry Fitzgerald, and Christian Kirk is coming back. I'm going to roll with the Cardinals here. Even though both these teams have looked okay for younger teams, they've looked good. Next, it is we kind of messed up our Tank Fest, but it was the Dolphins-Redskins versus the Niners. That is Niners, clearly. Redskins, get out of here. Dan Schneider, bye-bye. Next up, Chargers-Titans, and Hunter Henry's back. Keenan Allen. I'm gonna roll with Los Angeles. Finally, I got it right. I didn't say San Diego this time. I'm gonna roll with Los Angeles. Next up, Saints-Bears. Bears are home. It's a little bit later in the year. Saints are an indoor team. This happened in the 2006 NFC Championship, Saints-Bears. I'm going to roll Chicago. Next up, it is the Bird Bath here. It is the Ravens and the Seahawks. Lamar Jackson versus leading MVP candidate Russell Wilson. It is John Harbaugh and Pete Carroll, two Super Bowl winning teams, one after the other, colliding in the Bird Bath of the century. Okay, maybe not the century, but that would probably be like a vulture versus a condor or something. But Seahawks, Ravens. Seahawks are home. 12th man. Seahawks. I got that booked. And the classic of all classic NBC Sunday night games. You will get this at least once every year, no matter what year, who a year's calling, what quarterbacks are in, what coaches are in. It is your classic Cowboys and Eagles on primetime, must-watch, national televised NBC Sunday Night Football. It is your Cowboys and Eagles game, and the pick'em is right down the middle, and I gotta agree it to them because, again, I said these two teams would win the division off a tiebreaker, and I think the Cowboys are going to get this victory more than the Eagles. The Eagles are banged up. The Cowboys are not as... They're kind of banged up, but they're also home, and the Cowboys have lost 3 straight. They're probably looking for a bounce back. But again, I've said this is between a tiebreaker, so this is it right here. And next up, it is a classic Monday night showdown, actually. It is the Patriots-Jets, which I've seen that's had many Monday night games. And I'm going to roll, as much as I've loved Sam Darnold beating the Cowboys last week, this is not your week. But I see some wins in the future, especially those Dolphin games for the Jets. But I'm going to roll with my team, my New England Patriots, to win this. And that is going to be it for this week's show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for streaming online, using data, using Wi-Fi. However, using your college's Wi-Fi, I don't know. I really don't know. But thank you. Next week it's going to be awesome. And yeah, that's going to be it. I'm signing off.